20 international chess professionals converge here in St. Louis for the 2017 Winter Chess Classic. Hello, chess fans. Ben Simon here with another recap. Today is round 6 of the Winter Chess Classic. As we approach the final rounds here in St. Louis, we start to see a few players being mathematically eliminated from contention. Still, there are some great games to be played, even for them. These players will earn top-level tournament experience, but also there's a $20,000 prize fund at stake. The winner of Group A nets $5,000. The winner of Group B nets $4,000. In Group A, I'm sitting here with Grandmaster Yaroslav Zherebukh, who just defeated Ruifeng Li with the black pieces. Congratulations on the victory.
Thank you.
And you're not out of the running yet with this victory with 3 out of 6, still near the top, and there's still a lot going for you. So Yaro, if you would, please take us through the game and show us some interesting points.
Well, I felt even if objectively a computer will show something here for white, some advantage, still position is so complex for a human being, that 3 results can happen. And here I guess he just completely underestimated my counterplay. Maybe he assumed that he's just winning after f4, but I came up here with this nice defensive idea, knight c4 and then queen e7. And the uniqueness of the position is that I'm down bishop and rook, but seems like white just has no defense because my threats are too strong, and the king on g8 now is very safe. And I guess here white is just lost. At least I couldn't find any defense for him, and also he failed to find any appropriate defense during the game as well. So the point is, I want to go queen e3 check, queen e1 check, bishop c3 is an idea, and so somehow white is just unable to defend properly. If knight b1, then bishop b2 mate, of course, and if some rook moves, like rook d3, here I calculated queen a1, knight b1, then I give him checks, and let's say in this position his queen on c6 is the main reason he loses. I just go, let's say, either way, knight e2 or knight e5 is good enough, I think. Maybe knight e2 is better. Oh well, it doesn't really matter. Then I take the queen. Probably actually here, so my bishop is not hanging, just in case. Yeah, so he couldn't believe his eyes what is happening here, but I was already like, okay, victory is mine,
Right.
So so he totally missed this. I mean, maybe he was too confident for some reason. I mean, we played one game before, as I recall, classical game, and I was in terrible shape in that tournament. I went to play in Houston, and then he beat me. But in 5 games, I lost like twice and lost like 15 rating points. So it wasn't a tournament of my life, for sure. And I guess maybe based on past experience, he expected to beat me. Like, oh, some meat.
How long ago was that?
It was like, it was in 2015.
Oh, okay.
Yes, but then I remember, we played Blitz at the World Open, and I beat him 1.5 to 1/2. But still. So I was happy to find this idea, and then I finished him, I guess, pretty clearly, like without any chances. Because in this tournament, I had 2 winning positions against Fedoseev, and also against Ipatov I was much better. But then I managed to blunder. So in this game I'm like, okay, just make sure you're not gonna blunder anymore. At some point you should stop blundering if you want to get some points, right, in the tournament. Yeah. So here I pulled myself together and found how to win properly. Rook d8, I guess, was a good idea. Yeah, I think is the fastest way to win, the cleanest. if bishop d6, then I can just take on b4, I believe. Although actually I also thought if bishop d6, I have multiple ways. I was considering queen a2. The idea is queen b1, and if queen c3, then queen b1. Initially, actually, even in this game, somehow I managed to sort of blunder in my calculation. Like this point, no, actually, when he played bishop c4, from from this position, I was calculating, okay, bishop c3, and then I reached this position in my calculations, and then I thought, okay, come on, it's just an easy win. Queen a2, queen c3, and I thought, okay, I'm taking the rook on h1, but then queen g7 would have been not a very nice surprise.
Oh no.
So, well, to justify my calculation, it was kind of like pretty long calculation, right? But then I'm like, no, dude, be serious. Don't miss such mates. Mate in one is not the best thing to miss, when you're completely winning. Yeah. So and then, this is completely lost. But in the end, I couldn't reject this. Bishop e1 is just the most beautiful win, because he resigned in spite of mate.
It was coming.
Yeah, it was coming, yeah.
Well, Ruifeng Li, always a very important person to defeat. He's a very notable junior, a regular in the U.S. Junior Championship and many other strong tournaments, such as this one. So you're still in contention in Group A. The range of scores in Group A is a lot less dynamic than that of Group B. There's a lot of people still at the top. Of course, David Howell has maintained that lead for a few rounds now, but you face him tomorrow. What can you talk about your mindset going into this game?
Honestly, I don't expect much. I mean, I just wanted to play good chess and see what happens. Because in this tournament, I've been playing black a little bit too often. So
yeah, you've got white tomorrow.
Yeah, I got white, but I got used to play with black, so now it's kind of hard to play with white, because with white you have to push, and with black I just wait for them to come and get me, and then I go into counterplay, and then sometimes they lose. So
it's not just this tournament. You have a whole bunch of stuff going on. Last night, as a member of Chess.com's Pro Chess League, St. Louis Archbishops, you guys made it to the Final Four, so go home team. Very cool, over our crosstown rivals Webster University. And also the big one coming up, the U.S. Championship. For the first time ever, you're participating. This is going to give you an opportunity to mix it up with Fabiano Caruana, Hikaru Nakamura, and Wesley So, the captain of the Archbishops, if nothing else, but we know he's one of the best in the world, of course. What are your thoughts about the U.S. Championship?
Well, yeah, I'm obviously super pumped about it. I'm very excited, just even to sit at the same board with such guys. Because I'm really happy about the opportunity to learn in the first place. They can show me something, they can teach me something. I mean, good result for myself would have been if I can finish, in the first half, let's say, of the tournament. I'll be very happy. That would be like maximum probably what I can hope for. I mean, provided that I'll be in excellent shape and my opponents sometimes will do some bad things, So, and yeah, actually, I believe the U.S. Championship is also a qualifier for the World Cup, and my goal is to qualify for the World Cup, to play again. I mean, last time I played 2011 and that was the best tournament of my life, in fact. So maybe I still can try.
Well, no one comes to the U.S. Championship to lose, really, but there's certainly a lot more to gain than just the title of U.S. champion. So it's very exciting. Yaro, congratulations again. Thank you for joining me. Let's take a look. After 6 rounds of play, the standings for Group A. Not many positions have changed in Group A. However, Jeffrey Zhang has improved his standing with a win today over Emilio Cordova. Round 7 on Friday, March 17th, has Zherebukh versus Howell. However, if a winner emerges from Fedoseev versus Zhang, then we could be looking at a new frontrunner as both players sit at 3.5 points. One of the mainstays of U.S. chess, Grandmaster Robert Hess, came away with a victory today in Group B with the white pieces against Irine Sukandar. Robert, congratulations on the victory.
Thank you.
Take us through this game and show us what happened.
Yeah, absolutely. So I panicked with no time. And this is, again, the poor clock management. Bishop f4, king e7. And now my idea all along was to go queen to d4. And now that I had the opportunity to do it, I didn't. So I don't really have a great excuse for myself at this moment. I've seen ghosts that somehow this pawn I thought was queening, but it doesn't have that opportunity. I mean, unless I'm just missing something, I think my king is in time to cover all my bases. And if c1 queen, this looks very scary. Rook c8 check and bring another piece into the action. King d2. Well, I just kind of assumed I was getting checkmated here, but after rook c2 check, king e3, there are no more checks to be had. And all of a sudden, white, with all the extra material, is doing really well. So it just, my calculation was not extremely good at this moment, and with no time on the clock, that's never a good thing. So queen d4 was better here. Instead, I made a losing move, pawn to f3. So after takes, this is all actually forced, bishop f3 check. Now all of a sudden I'm in big trouble because Irene is simply picking up my rook over on h1. And I couldn't figure out if my king on f2 or e3 were better, but we were both in pretty large time trouble. She was down to a minute and a half. I'm under a minute. So I went king e3 just to mix things up. Queen takes h1, e6. So now I'm actually threatening queen g7 check with at least perpetual check ideas. So she played well with queen g1 check. Taking away this g7 square and with check is a tempo gaining move. And I went king e4 because I knew I was lost. My position is really bad now. And I said, okay, if I bring my king up, well, she has no check with her queen besides repeating over on h1. She's not going to do that. If she takes on e6 with the pawn, I think she's still doing really well. But I figured, okay, now all of a sudden there's some exposure in her position. Maybe my queen can sneak over to e1 and give a check over on h4, over on b4. And that's the kind of counterplay I needed just to stay in the game. She went d5 check, king d3. She went rook to c8. I think she can also play a move like rook to f8 because g7 is covered. So it looks possible to just go rook f8 and start pinning down the f-file. I think that's probably just winning, unless I'm miscalculating, which is very possible. But there's a huge issue here. 2 bishops, not just one. And I don't have anywhere to really go with this one. Otherwise, you take on f1 with check, and that's just losing. And if I go queen to c1, protecting, well, maybe now just queen to f2 is a problem. Because, again, I have to move the bishops, the f4 bishop, but then the f1 bishop falls behind it. So that was Irene's, I think, easiest way to win. She went rook c8, queen e1, and here she just panicked. And this is the reason I won the game, is she went c1 equals queen, which is a very poor move, but I understand why she did it. Irene wanted to go rook c4, bringing the queen into d4 with check, but she got very concerned, and rightly so, about queen h4 check. The point is that now my queen's getting out, all of a sudden, maybe white has some hopes of surviving, but after king to e8, I'm not seeing a follow-up for white. I think that the king can just safely slither back to e8, and without a check on the board, with my bishop hanging on f1, with c1 queen coming, with queen d4 check, white is toast. This would have been game over. I could probably safely resign. But in time trouble, you start getting afraid of those type of moves. Queen h4 check, all of a sudden you're very concerned. Oh, am I getting mated? Oh, is there going to be a drawing opportunity? Things like that. And so she made the imprecise move c1 queen. And now after bishop takes c1, all of a sudden I was really happy because it's immensely complicated. White has 3 pawns and 2 bishops versus a rook and 4, and obviously both sides are queens. That's, materially at least, that's pretty level. Rook and pawn versus 2 minors. But with the king wide open, bishops love open space, so I was really happy here. And so rook c4, bishop e3, queen g4, and again, these are some imprecise moves. Probably I went king to d2, and here's the tragic blunder. She made the move pawn to d4. Now my bishop is attacking her rook on c4, but she could probably go rook e4, take this e6 pawn, and I don't know who's better. It's very complicated. I still like having the bishops with the open space, but I'm losing my pawns quite quickly. d4 is a huge blunder because that ends move 39, so it's right before time control. Because after bishop takes c4, pawn takes e3 check. I think what Irene forgot about is my king doesn't. I don't have to capture this pawn. Yeah, queen takes e3, then she'll take on c4, and that's no good for white because I mean, yes, at best it's going to be a draw. It's probably for both sides at best a draw. There should be a perpetual, but king to c3, and now the game's just over. I'm up full bishop. Yeah, there's this pawn on e3, but it doesn't really do anything. I'm up a piece for one pawn, and it's just a kind of trivial at this point, a matter of simple technique. And so after b5, I decided to keep my h-pawn on the board because I figured I'd win the queenside pawns, and now this is easy. A queen trade loses on the spot, simply queen takes f6, king takes, and bishop takes b5, and it's very easy. I just put the bishop on e2, eventually I'll win this e3 pawn, then I'll go win either the a pawn or the h pawn. An extra bishop is very simply winning. And it's important to note that if I did not have the a pawn, it would be a draw, because this h pawn is the wrong color, wrong queening square. So I was very cautious when I was thinking about these things, because if some point a5, b4 check happens and the pawns get traded, well, my winning chances are lessened greatly. And with the queens on the board, there's winning chances. Without queens, that's to be a theoretical draw. So anyway, queen h4 check, king f8, and this is just simple. I'm picking up her pawns, and after queen c5 check, king g8, queen takes b5, queen f6, king b3, she resigned. There's not even a check for black, because if you check in the diagonal, I simply win the queen. After queen e6, bishop c4 check. Sorry, not check. I stop a check, but I pin the queen. And, otherwise it's just a matter of time where I get all the pawns. So, yeah, pretty hectic game. This is my first bit of luck in the tournament. I think I've been unlucky in certain games, but, yeah, I guess I pulled through in time crunch.
Well, you stand 3 for 6. Yeah. Middle of the road here. It looks like Barış Pulitz has that $4 grand prize locked up essentially at this point. But what does this tournament, playing in this tournament, mean to you?
Well, it means a lot. I haven't played serious chess in a long time, and I always have reasons, at least I've found myself, declining events. But when St. Louis, came knocking on the door saying, "Hey, Robert, do you want to play in this strong tournament for grandmaster players?" I said, absolutely. That's what I think U.S. chess has been missing. Because, of course, we have the Sinkfield Cup for elite players. We have the U.S. Championship for those who qualify. But for players, especially younger players who are up and coming and improving, the Sam Sevians, the Ruifeng Li, Jeffrey Young, Sam Shanklin, Ray Robson, all these guys, I mean, they're at this level where a lot of them are over 2,600, but they lack, in the U.S., opportunities to play consistently against other 26-plus players. So this tournament, in my section, is lower rated than that, but I felt, wow, this is a great opportunity. I always love coming to St. Louis. They treat players better than anywhere I've ever been treated at a chess tournament. So for me, yes, I was hesitant, but then it became a no-brainer decision.
Right, and I think that's the idea you stated there. These seasonal tournaments, with this one being the debut, the Winter Classic, we'll have one for every season to fit that void, and for people like yourself. Robert, before I let you go, what are you up to these days? If it's not chess, what's going on in the life of Robert Hess?
Yeah, well, there's definitely a lot of chess. I was the coach of the U.S. women's team at the Olympiad. We did extremely well there. I'm always doing chess things, whether it's commentary, analysis, lectures, things like that. But what's up in my life? I mean, I'm still running the Sports Quotient, which is a site I co-founded in college. It's to bring about smarter sports analysis, using statistical backing rather than just the eye test. What kind of, I guess, my father's generation likes to, how they are used to watching sports. Oh, this person is better than this person because I say so. But
it's about statistics.
Exactly.
I love that stuff.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's been one of my focuses, of course, with a lot of chess as well. So have not been playing. Maybe this will be the start of something new where I'll get back going and playing chess again. But other than that, it's Sports Quotient and a lot of various chess stuff.
Well, congratulations once again, Robert.
Thank you.
On a great game today. And now, after 6 rounds, let's take a look at the Group B standings. Andrei Barış Pulitz is on a roll, winning his last 5 straight. The player closest is still a 1.5 points behind, so it looks like Andrei has this one all but wrapped up. On Friday, March 17th, Irine Sukandar, the lowest rated player in this field, has an uphill battle against Boris Politz. The 2017 Winter Chess Classic runs every day through Sunday, March 19th. Rounds begin at 1 p.m. each day except for the final round. See the games live as they happen on uschesschamps.com and chess24.com.